All right, this story comes out of Queen, New York. Witness says prosecutors threatened to arrest her if she recants her testimony that sent black man to prison for 1991 New York double murder he claims he didn't commit. May 16, 2024. Questions have been raised about the 1991 double murder conviction of Alan Porter, who is serving a 47 years to life prison sentence after a wrongful conviction claim was filed in late April. Claims have surfaced that Vanessa Thomas, a key witness in the case, was coerced into falsely pointing to Porter as the murder of two individuals due to an undisclosed deal with prosecutors, according to a report from the New York Daily News. Porter claims he was wrongly convicted in the 1991 killing of a rival drug dealer and his girlfriend. But now Porter's legal team has filed a motion to overturn what they claim to be a wrongful conviction at a trial in 1996, following Thomas' own arrest in 1993 for the crime. Prosecutors allegedly dropped the charges after she implicated Porter. In another twist to the case, Thomas was recently visited by Queen's prosecutor, who threatened to arrest her if she changed her original testimony to speak in Porter's favor, according to the court documents filed last week, the New York Daily News reported. The Daily News provided details of the alleged misconduct in the 51-page motion filed by Porter's legal team. The motion, backed by the recantations of two other key witnesses and over 2,000 internal case documents, accuses Queens prosecutors and police of suppressing evidence and manipulating witnesses in Porter's case. Imagine that. They wouldn't do such a thing, would they? Of course they would. Thomas, 70, told her ex-boyfriend, Nathaniel Wright, that two prosecutors visited her Georgia home on April 4th and threatened her with perjury charges if she changed her original testimony, according to reports. During the trial, Thomas' testimony placed Porter at the murder scene and alleged that he conspired to murder a competing drug dealer. In response, Porter's legal team submitted an affidavit along with a 30-page request for a hearing on the issue to the Supreme Court in Queens. Porter was only 19 while working as a small-time dealer selling drugs on one side of a housing project in Queens for Ernest Bud Jarvis, while rival dealers Charles Bland and Mark Rogers sold drugs on the other side of the housing project. In a brief report, the New York Times outlined what transpired in the 1991 murders of Bland and Rogers. At the time in the story of Queens, the man and a woman were gunned down while sitting in a car, according to police reports. The victims were identified as Bland, and 25, and Walker, 20. Their bodies were discovered by officers in the parking lot of a Woodside houses. Both victims had sustained multiple gunshot wounds. Despite an extensive search, no firearm was found at the scene. However, a police spokesman indicated that up to 15 shots may have been discharged. The parking lot was reportedly known as a hotspot for drug-related activities. Meanwhile, witnesses reported seeing 2 or 3 individuals dressed in dark clothing fleeing the scene, but no physical evidence was found to identify the suspect. Reportedly, an initial investigation looked at drug dealer Jarvis, who was killed 4 weeks later. Oh, so he got killed, so they had to find someone else to lock up. Oh, you can't make this up. Porter was interrogated but chose to exercise his right not to cooperate. He was arrested approximately 3 months later. Thomas' testimony was a pivotal part of the case. Thomas stated at trial that she willingly cooperated with the police, alleging that she saw Porter with armed men on the night of the murders and that he had confided in her about his plans to kill Bland for several months. The New York Daily News reported. During the his closing statement, Prosecutor Richard Schaefer asserted that Thomas testified to relieve herself of guilt she carries. Porter was convicted of the murders on January 31st, 1996. However, in 2018, Porter's legal team discovered that Thomas was actually arrested in Georgia in November 1993 and charged with the murders based on a warrant issued in New York. According to case records submitted with Porter's motion, the charges against Thomas were dropped only after she agreed to accuse Porter. Porter's defense was never made aware of the sequence of the events, which is allegedly mandated by law, said Edwin Schulman, who was his trial lawyer. The news outlet reported that Wright, who was arrested along with Thomas, wrote in an affidavit in 2021 expressing fear for Thomas' potential imprisonment while he was in prison in Georgia. He claimed that detectives corrected him when he named a shooter and that he was repeatedly brought to the prosecutor Schaefer's office without his lawyer. Schaefer allegedly admitted knowing Porter wasn't the shooter but had refused to cooperate. I was terrified because Vanessa stood to go to prison, Wright wrote. My only reason for giving this affidavit is because Allen did not commit this crime. Jacqueline Aviles, another witness, testified to seeing Porter commit the crime. However, in October 2021, she recanted her testimony alleging coercion by detectives. She admitted she couldn't identify the shooters due to their masks and confessed to giving false testimony out of fear for her children. The detective then told her bits and pieces of what to say and said, "You're not stupid. You can fill in the blanks," Porter's motion alleges. Oh, that's some dirty stuff right there. Yeah, but that's what they do. You know, if you have any warrants or any charges against you that's soon to go to court, they use it against you. You know, they tell you if you don't do this, we're going to lock you up for this. You better play ball with us or we're going to lock you up. That's exactly what goes on every day. And the fact that this guy is still in jail, whether he did it or not, you got to prove it in court and not with coercing witnesses. And I hope this guy been in there since 96. What's that? 20, damn near 30 years. He been locked up damn near 30 years. He was 19 when it happened, 1991. Man, that's a long time to be in jail for some stuff you probably didn't do. It's a lot of people in jail that shouldn't be there. It's just this entire system. When we tell everyone that it's the entire system, it's the judicial system, the law enforcement, everything is all weaponized against you. It is. I'm going to follow along with this case and see what happens. Hopefully this guy can get out of jail and get a fat payday and live out the rest of his life in peace. Like I said, I don't know if he did it or he didn't, but these prosecutors, they pull out every dirty trick they can just to lock you up. And they said one of the guys that was suspected of the crime died like 4 weeks later, so they just found somebody else to pin it on, I guess, or maybe he was with him, but it's not proven. You got to prove it in a court of law without drumming up evidence and coercing statements. All right. Wow. I'm going to leave this here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.